Princess Zara stood in the middle of the great hall. Her blue skin glowed softly under the bright lights. Her silver hair fell down her back like water. She was beautiful, but her face showed no fear. Around her sat the High Council of the Valerian Empire. These were the most powerful people in the galaxy. Emperor Kethamor sat on his golden throne. He was Zara's father, but today he looked at her with cold eyes. His face was hard like stone. Next to him stood Lord Vextar, Zara's uncle. He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Princess Zara Thiel," Lord Vexatar said in a loud voice. "You stand here today because you have brought shame to our family. You have brought shame to our empire." Zara lifted her chin. She would not bow her head. "I spoke the truth," she said. "Nothing more." The council members whispered to each other. Some looked angry. Others looked worried. What Zara had done was very bad in their eyes. She had spoken against her father in public. She had said that humans should be free. She had said that the Valerian Empire was wrong to make humans into slaves. The truth? Lord Vextar laughed. It was a cold sound. "You call it truth to defend those animals? Those humans are nothing. They are less than nothing. They exist only to serve us." "They are people," Zara said. Her voice was strong. "They have families. They have children. They feel pain and joy just like us. How can we treat them like animals?" Emperor Kethmore stood up from his throne. The hall became very quiet. When the Emperor spoke, everyone listened. "My daughter," he said slowly, "you have forgotten who you are. You are a princess of Valeria. Your blood is royal. It is pure. These humans you defend are nothing compared to us. They are weak. They are stupid. They were born to serve." "No, father," Zara said. "I have not forgotten who I am. I remember that. You taught me to be just. You taught me to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The humans in the Outer Rim colonies are dying. Our soldiers kill their children. How is this just?" The Emperor's face grew red with anger. "You dare to question me? You dare to question our ways? Our people have ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. We are strong because we know our place, and we know the place of others." "And what of the New Denver colony?" Zara asked. "What of the families there? Our ships came in the night. They had no weapons. They were farmers. Yet we killed them all, even the babies. How was that strength? How was that honor?" The council members gasped. Zara had spoken of things that were supposed to be secret. The attack on New Denver was not supposed to be known by anyone outside the military. Lord Vexatar stepped forward. "How do you know of this?" he asked. "I know many things," Zara said. "I know that we have become monsters. I know that this war is wrong. And I know that someday the humans will rise up against us. When that day comes, we will fall because we chose fear over justice." "Enough," Emperor Kethmore shouted. His voice echoed through the hall. "You have said too much. You have shamed us for the last time." The council members began to talk among themselves. They spoke in low voices, but Zara could hear some of their words. They were deciding her fate. "Death," said one council member. "Exile," said another. "Prison," said a third. Lord Vextar raised his hand for silence. When the hall was quiet, he smiled again. This time his smile was even colder than before. "Death would make her a martyr," he said. The young people already listened to her words. If we kill her, they will remember her as a hero. Exile would let her spread her poison to other worlds. Prison would make the people ask questions. Then what do you suggest? Asked Emperor Kethmore. Lord Vextar's smile grew bigger. I suggest we give her exactly what she wants. She loves humans so much. Let her marry one. The council members were shocked. Some of them gasped. Others looked sick. In Valyrian culture, marrying someone from another species was the worst thing that could happen. It was worse than death. You cannot be serious, said an old council member. I am very serious, Lord Vextar said. Think about it. She will be married to one of these animals she loves so much. She will have to live with it. She will have to share her bed with it. The royal bloodline will be ruined forever. She will be an example to all who think of following her path. Emperor Kethmore thought about this. Slowly, he began to nod. Yes, he said. Yes, this is perfect. She wants to defend humans? Let her become one of them. Father, please, Zara said. It was the first time her voice showed fear. I will accept death. I will accept exile. But do not do this. It is decided, Emperor Kethmore said. You will marry a human. We will choose the worst one we can find, some animal from the prison ships, and the whole galaxy will watch. They will see what happens to those who betray their own kind. Lord Vextar walked to a screen on the wall. He touched it, and pictures appeared. They were pictures of human prisoners. All of them were men. All of them looked tired and dirty. This one, Lord Vextar said. He pointed to a picture of a man with green eyes and brown hair. The man's face was hard, but his eyes showed strength. Captain Jake Murphy. He was captured at the Battle of Kepler Station. He killed many of our soldiers before we took him. He is exactly what we need. Zara looked at the picture. The man did not look like an animal. He looked like someone who had suffered but had not given up. Someone who had fought for what he believed in, just like her. When will this happen? She asked. Tomorrow, Lord Vextar said. The whole empire will watch. They will see their princess married to a human dog. They will see what happens to traitors. Emperor Kethmore sat back on his throne. Take her away, he said. Prepare her for the ceremony and bring the human. Clean him up. I want him to look presentable for his wedding day. Guards came forward to take Zara away. As they led her from the hall, she turned back to look at her father one last time. You think this will break me? She said. But you are wrong. Love is stronger than hate, father. You will see. The great doors closed behind her. In a few hours, she would be married to a stranger. A human stranger. Her life as she knew it was over. But somewhere deep inside, she felt that maybe, just maybe, this was not the end. Maybe it was the beginning of something new. The wedding was a cold, cruel thing. Zara stood in her white dress while guards brought Jake Murphy into the great hall. His hands were chained, but he walked with his head high. He had been cleaned up, but she could see the anger in his green eyes. The ceremony was quick. Neither of them spoke except to say the words they had to say. When it was over, Lord Vextar smiled and announced that they would be sent to Serenity's Rest, a small moon far from any other world. You will have each other, he said with his cold smile. How romantic. The trip to the moon took 3 days. Zara and Jake sat on opposite sides of the small ship. They did not talk. They did not even look at each other. The guards who flew the ship laughed and made jokes about the strange couple. When they landed on Serenity's Rest, the guards threw their bags out of the ship and flew away quickly. Zara and Jake stood alone on the red sand, watching the ship disappear into the orange sky. The moon was not a kind place. The air was thin and hard to breathe. The ground was covered with red rocks and strange plants with sharp edges. In the distance, tall mountains reached up toward two small suns. "Well," Jake said. It was the first word he had spoken to her. "This is home now." Their new home was a small metal building with 2 rooms. There was a bed, a table, some chairs, and basic machines for making food and cleaning water. It was not much, but it would keep them alive. Jake took one look at the place and picked up his bag. He went into the smaller room and closed the door hard. Zara stood alone in the main room, looking around at her new life. The first few weeks were very hard. Jake would not talk to her. He would fix things that were broken and hunt for food, but he acted like she was not there. Zara tried to help, but she had never done work like this before. She had lived in a palace all her life. She did not know how to fix machines or catch animals for food. One day the water machine stopped working. Zara tried to fix it, but she did not know how. She worked on it for hours under the hot suns. The metal was hot and burned her hands. Still, she kept trying. Jake found her there when he came back from hunting. She was on the ground next to the machine. Her hands were bleeding, and she could barely breathe. "What are you doing?" he asked. "The water machine," she said weakly. "It stopped working. I tried to fix it." Jake looked at the machine, then at her bloody hands. "You did it wrong," he said. "You made it worse." But he did not walk away. Instead, he helped her stand up and took her inside. He cleaned her hands and put medicine on the cuts. Then he went outside and fixed the water machine in 10 minutes. That night, for the first time, they ate dinner at the same table. "Why did you help me?" Zara asked. Jake was quiet for a long time. "Because you were trying," he finally said. "You could have just waited for me to come back, but you tried to fix it yourself." "I do not want to be useless," Zara said. "You're not useless," Jake said. "You just don't know how to do these things. Nobody taught you." After that, things began to change slowly. Jake started to teach her how to use the machines and how to find food. Zara was a fast learner. She was also brave. When Jake was fixing the roof and fell, she caught him. When a wild animal came near their home, she stood next to him with a stick in her hands. They began to talk more. At first, they only talked about work and survival, but then they started to talk about other things. "Why did you speak against your father?" Jake asked one evening. They were sitting outside, watching the 2 suns set. "Because he was wrong," Zara said. "What we were doing to your people was wrong." "Your people killed my brother," Jake said. His voice was quiet and sad. "Alex was only 20. He was on a transport ship bringing food to refugees. Your ships blew it up." Zara felt sick. "I am sorry," she said. "I am so sorry." "Are you?" Jake asked. "Or are you just saying that?" Zara looked at him. "I tried to stop it," she said. "I sent warnings to human colonies when I could. I saved the people at Bright Star Station. I told them our ships were coming. They got away before the attack." Jake stared at her. "That was you?" "Yes," Zara said. "And there were others. I tried to save as many as I could, but I could not save them all. I could not save your brother. I failed." Jake was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was different. "You risked your life to save people you had never met," he said. "They were innocent," Zara said. "Children, families. They did not deserve to die." That night, Jake moved his things into the main room. He still slept on the floor, but he was no longer hiding from her. As the days passed, they worked better together. Jake taught Zara how to hunt and fix things. Zara taught Jake about Valerian technology and how to use some of the advanced machines in their home. When the big storms came, they had to work as a team to survive. The winds were so strong they could blow a person away. Rain fell like bullets from the sky. For 3 days they stayed inside and made sure their home did not fall apart. "We make a good team," Jake said on the third night. The storm was still, loud outside, but their home was safe and warm. "Yes," Zara said. "We do." She was sitting on the floor reading from a small book. Jake was fixing a tool that had broken during the storm. "What are you reading?" he asked. "Old stories from my world," Zara said. "My grandmother used to read them to me when I was little." "What are they about?" "Heroes," Zara said. "People who chose to do the right thing even when it was hard, even when everyone was against them." Jake smiled a little. "Sounds familiar." As the storm ended and they went outside to check for damage, Zara realized something had changed between them. Jake no longer looked at her like she was his enemy, and she no longer felt afraid when he was near. They were not friends yet, but they were no longer enemies either. They were something new, something that neither of them had expected. Standing in the red sand outside their home, looking at the damage from the storm, they began to clean up together. Jake handed her tools without being asked. Zara knew which parts needed to be fixed without being told. "Jake," Zara said as they worked. "Yeah?" "Thank you," she said, "for helping me learn, for not letting me give up." Jake stopped working and looked at her. "Thank you for trying," he said, "for not acting like a princess who expects everyone else to do the work." They smiled at each other. It was small, but it was real. That night, as they sat by their fire-eating dinner, the two suns set behind the mountains. The sky turned purple and orange and red. It was beautiful. For the first time since coming to this moon, neither of them felt completely alone. 3 months had passed since Zara and Jake came to Serenity's Rest. The red moon had become their world. They knew every rock, every dangerous plant, and every safe place to find water. They had learned to work together like two parts of the same machine. The big storm season was coming. Jake could see the signs in the way the wind blew and how the animals acted. They needed to gather food and fix their home before the storms arrived. "We need more metal sheets for the roof," Jake said one morning. "And more food. The storms will last for weeks." "There is a crashed ship about 10 miles north," Zara said. "I saw it when we first came here. We might find what we need there." Jake nodded. "We'll go tomorrow, early." They prepared for the journey, carefully. The trip would be dangerous. Wild animals lived between their home and the crashed ship. Some of them were very big and very hungry. The next morning they started walking before the suns came up. Zara carried the tools they would need. Jake carried his hunting weapon and extra water. They moved quietly through the red rocks and strange plants. "Tell me about Earth," Zara said as they walked. "What was it like before the war?" Jake smiled a little. "Green," he said. "So much green. Trees everywhere, blue oceans, clean air that you could breathe without thinking about it." "It sounds beautiful." "It was," Jake said. "My family had a farm, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Alex and I used to race through the cornfields when we were kids. My mother would get mad because we would knock down the plants." "You miss it," Zara said. "Every day," Jake said. But it's gone now. The Valyrian fleet hit Earth early in the war. Most of the big cities are just glass and ash now. Zara stopped, walking. I did not know, she said quietly. They told us Earth surrendered without a fight. They lied to you about a lot of things, Jake said. We fought. We fought hard. But your ships were too strong, and you had too many of them. They walked in silence for a while. Zara was thinking about all the things her people had not told her, all the lies she had believed. When they reached the crashed ship, they found it half buried in the red sand. It was a human ship, shot down during the war. Jake was quiet as they climbed inside. This was a medical ship, he said, looking at the broken equipment. They were trying to help wounded soldiers. Inside the ship, they found what they needed: metal sheets, tools, and even some food that was still good. But they also found something else. Zara was looking through a broken computer when she found the records, pictures and videos of what had really happened during the war. She saw Valyrian ships attacking hospitals. She saw soldiers killing children. She saw things that made her sick to her stomach. "Jake," she called, "come look at this." Jake came over and looked at the screen. His face went white. "New Denver," he said. "That's New Denver Colony." On the screen, they could see Valyrian ships attacking a small town. The people were running, trying to save their children, but the ships kept firing. Even when the people tried to surrender, the ships kept firing. "This is where your brother died?" Zara asked. "No," Jake said. "Alex died at a different place. But this... I know these people. That's the Johnson family. And there's old Mr. Peterson. They never hurt anyone. They were just farmers." Zara felt tears on her face. "I tried to stop this," she said. "I sent warnings when I could. But I could not save everyone." "You saved some," Jake said. "That's more than most people did. They copied the records and took them back to their home." That night, Zara showed Jake more things she had hidden. Pictures and videos she had taken in secret. Proof of all the terrible things her people had done. "Why do you have all this?" Jake asked. "I was going to give it to the Galactic Council," Zara said. "I was going to prove that the war was wrong. But then I was arrested." Jake looked at her with new respect. "You could have been killed for this." "I know," Zara said, "but someone had to tell the truth." The storms came 2 days later. They were worse than Jake had expected. The wind screamed like a living thing. Rain fell so hard it hurt. Lightning filled the sky with bright, scary light. On the second night of the storms, their roof started to leak. Water poured into their home. Jake and Zara worked together to fix it, but the storm was too strong. "The supports are breaking," Jake shouted over the wind. "I have to go outside and fix them." "No," Zara said. "It's too dangerous." "If I don't fix them, the whole roof will come down," Jake said. Before Zara could stop him, Jake went outside into the storm. The wind hit him like a giant hand and knocked him down. Zara watched through the window as he fought to reach the roof supports. Then she saw it. A piece of metal was flying through the air, spinning fast. It was going to hit Jake in the head. He could not see it coming. Without thinking, Zara ran outside. The storm grabbed her and threw her around like a toy, but she kept moving. She reached Jake just as the metal piece flew toward him. She pushed him out of the way. The metal hit her. Instead, pain shot through her arm, but she did not let go of Jake. Together, they fixed the roof supports and got back inside. "You saved my life," Jake said. His hands were shaking as he cleaned the cut on her arm. "You would have done the same for me," Zara said. Yes, Jake said. I would have. They looked at each other for a long moment. Something had changed between them, something important. The storms lasted for another week. During that time, they talked more than they ever had before. Jake told her about his dreams of being a pilot, about the girl he had loved on Earth, about his fears and hopes. Zara told him about growing up alone in the palace, about how her father had become cold and cruel, about her dreams of a galaxy where all people could live in peace. I never had a real friend, Zara said one night. Everyone in the palace wanted something from me. They smiled at me because I was a princess, not because they cared about me. I care about you, Jake said. Not because you're a princess, because you're brave and kind, and you tried to save people even when it put you in danger. And I care about you, Zara said, because you are good, because you could have hated me for what my people did, but instead you chose to see who I really am. When the storms finally ended, they went outside together. The red sand was smooth and clean. The air was fresh and cool. The two suns were shining brightly. We did it, Jake said. We survived. Together, Zara said. They stood side by side, looking out at their strange, beautiful world. They were no longer the angry pilot and the punished princess who had been forced together. They were partners. They were friends. And maybe, Jake thought as he watched Zara smile in the sunlight, they were something more than that, too.
1 year had passed since Zara and Jake came to Serenity's Rest. Their small metal home had become a real home. They had built a garden where they grew food. They had made furniture from pieces of the crashed ships scattered around the moon. Most importantly, they had built something neither of them expected: happiness. Jake no longer thought about Zara as the alien princess who had been forced to marry him. She was just Zara now, the woman who made him laugh when he was sad, the woman who worked beside him every day, the woman who had saved his life in the storm. Zara no longer saw Jake as the angry human prisoner. He was her partner, her best friend, the person who had taught her that she was strong enough to survive anything. But there was something else growing between them, something that neither of them wanted to name. When their hands touched while they were working, they both felt it. When they sat by the fire at night talking and laughing, they both felt it. When they looked at each other across their small home, they both knew that what they felt was more than friendship. The Festival of Twin Moons was coming. It was a Valerian holiday that Zara had always celebrated alone in the palace. She did not expect Jake to know about it or care about it. But on the morning of the festival, Zara woke up to find that Jake was not in the house. She looked outside and saw him working near the garden. He was building something. "What are you doing?" she asked. "It's a surprise," Jake said with a smile. "Go back inside. I'll be done soon." Zara was curious, but she went back inside. An hour later, Jake came to get her. "Close your eyes," he said. "Jake, what are you doing?" "Trust me," he said. "Close your eyes." Zara closed her eyes and let Jake lead her outside. When he told her to open them, she gasped. Jake had built a small platform in the garden. On it, he had placed 2 chairs and a table. The table was covered with the best food they had. Around the platform, he had put flowers from the moon. They were not the same as Valerian flowers, but they were beautiful. Above them, he had hung lights made from pieces of metal and crystal that caught the light of the 2 moons. "Happy Festival of Twin Moons," Jake said. Zara felt tears in her eyes. "How did you know?" "You told me about it months ago," Jake said. "You said it was your favorite holiday when you were little. You said you used to celebrate it with your grandmother before she died. But you did all this for me," Zara said. "Why?" Jake looked at her. His green eyes were serious. "Because you matter to me," he said. "Because I want you to be happy." They sat at the small table under the light of the 2 moons. They ate and talked and laughed. It was the best festival of twin moons Zara had ever had. In my culture, Zara said as they watched the moons move across the sky, the festival of twin moons is about finding balance. The two moons represent two halves of a whole. They are different, but they work together to make something beautiful. Like us, Jake said quietly. Zara looked at him. Yes, she said, like us. They were sitting close together now. Zara could feel the warmth of Jake's body next to hers. She could smell his scent, clean and familiar. When he reached out and touched her hand, she did not pull away. Zara, Jake said, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Jake took a deep breath. I think I'm falling in love with you. Zara's heart began to beat faster. Jake, I know this is crazy, Jake said quickly. I know we were forced together. I know your people think I'm nothing more than an animal, but I can't help how I feel. You are the most amazing person I have ever met. You are brave and kind and smart and beautiful. And I love you. Zara was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. In my culture, there is an old saying, love can make even a forced marriage real. If two people choose to love each other, their bond becomes sacred. What are you saying? Jake asked. I am saying that I love you too, Zara said. I think I have loved you for months, but I was afraid to admit it. I was afraid you could never love someone like me. Someone like you? Jake laughed. Zara, you are perfect. I am an alien, Zara said. I am from the people who killed your brother. I am from the people who destroyed your world. You are not. Your people, Jake said. You are you, and you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Under the light of the twin moons, Jake leaned forward and kissed Zara softly. She kissed him back. It was gentle and sweet and full of all the love they had been hiding. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. So what happens now? Zara asked. Now we are really married, Jake said. Not because someone forced us to be, but because we choose to be. They spent the rest of the night talking about their future. They made plans for their home and their life together. For the first time in a year, they both felt completely happy, but their happiness was interrupted 3 days later when a ship appeared in the sky. Jake and Zara watched from their garden as the Valerian ship landed near their home. Out of it stepped a tall Valerian with silver skin and gold eyes. Zara recognized him immediately. Commander Drakthul, she said. My cousin. Drakthul looked around at their small home and garden. His face showed surprise. He had expected to find Zara, miserable and broken. Instead, she looked healthy and happy. Princess Zarathiel, Drakthul said formally. I bring news from the Empire. What news? Zara asked. Jake stood beside her, ready to protect her if needed. Emperor Kethamor is dying, Drakthul said. The succession is in chaos. Lord Vextar wants the throne, but many people oppose him. They remember your words about justice and peace. They want you to return. Zara felt her heart sink. Return? Yes, Drakthul said. But there are conditions. You must renounce this human. You must marry Lord Kael'dan to make your claim to the throne legitimate, and you must promise to rule as your father did. And if I refuse? Zara asked. Then you stay here forever, Drakthul said. The choice is yours. But you have 3 days to decide. After Drakthul left, Zara and Jake sat in their home in silence. The choice seemed impossible. You have to go, Jake said finally. No, Zara said. I will not leave you. Zara, think about what you could do, Jake said. You could change the Empire. You could save millions of lives. You could end the war. At what cost? Zara asked. I would have to give up the only real love I have ever known. I would have to marry someone I do not love. I would have to pretend to be someone I am not. But you could save people, Jake said. Isn't that what you always wanted? Zara looked at him with tears in her eyes. And what about us? What about our love? Jake took her hands in his. Our love will always be real, he said. No matter what happens, no matter where we are, that can never be taken away. I cannot do this without you, Zara said. Yes, you can, Jake said. You are the strongest person I know. They talked all night about what to do. It was the hardest decision either of them had ever faced. But by morning, they knew what they had to do. They would not choose between love and duty. They would find a way to have both. On the third morning, Zara and Jake walked hand in hand to meet Commander Drakthul. They had made their decision, but it was not the decision anyone expected. I will return to Valerian space, Zara told her cousin, but not to accept the throne. Through a marriage I do not want. Drakthul looked confused. Then why will you return? Because Jake and I have something to show the galaxy, Zara said. Something that will change everything. I do not understand, Drakthul said. Jake stepped forward. We have proof of war crimes, he said. Pictures and videos of what really happened during the war. Evidence that will show the Galactic Council the truth about the Valerian Empire. You are both crazy, Drakthul said. The Council will never listen to you. You are a disgraced princess and a human prisoner. Maybe, Zara said, but we have to try. We cannot sit here and do nothing while people suffer. We cannot hide our love while the galaxy burns. Drakthul looked at them for a long moment. You really love each other, he said. It was not a question. Yes, Zara and Jake said together. Then you are both fools, Drakthul said. But maybe the galaxy needs more fools like you. The trip to the Galactic Council station took 5 days. During the journey, Zara and Jake prepared what they would say. They organized all the evidence they had collected. They practiced their speeches over and over. When they arrived at the station, news of their coming had already spread. Reporters from every world in the galaxy were there. They all wanted to see the Valerian princess and the human pilot who had fallen in love. The hearing took place in the Great Hall of the Council. Representatives from 100 worlds sat in the audience. Zara and Jake walked into the hall together, holding hands. The crowd was surprised. They had expected to see a broken princess and an angry prisoner. Instead, they saw two people who clearly loved each other very much. Zara spoke first. She told the council about the crimes her people had committed. She showed them the pictures and videos she had collected. She spoke about the innocent people who had died, including Jake's brother Alex. I am here today not as a princess of Valeria, she said. I am here as someone who believes that all people deserve to live in peace. My people have forgotten that strength comes from protecting others, not from hurting them. Then Jake spoke. He told them about the war from a human perspective. He spoke about the families that had been destroyed. He spoke about the children who had died. But he also spoke about hope. Princess Zara risked everything to save human lives, he said. She gave up her throne, her family, and her old life because she believed in doing what was right. If she can change, if we can find love despite everything that has happened, then maybe there is hope for peace between all our peoples. The evidence Zara and Jake presented was shocking. The council members had never seen such clear proof of the Empire's crimes. Some of them looked sick as they watched the videos of attacks on innocent colonies. But the most powerful moment came when Zara and Jake spoke together about their love. They forced us to marry as a punishment, Zara said. They thought it would destroy us both. Instead, it saved us both, Jake said. Zara taught me that not all Valerians are monsters. I taught her that humans are not animals. Together we learned that love is stronger than hate. Our marriage started as a symbol of everything that was wrong between our peoples, Zara said. We want it to become a symbol of everything that can be right. The council voted that same day. They condemned the Valerian Empire for its crimes. They demanded that all human colonies be freed. They also did something no one expected. They officially recognized Jake and Zara's marriage as a symbol of hope for the future. News of the council's decision spread across the galaxy in hours. On Valeria, the people were divided. Some were angry that their princess had betrayed them. But others, especially the young people, saw her as a hero. Emperor Kethamor was on his deathbed when he heard the news. He called for Zara to come to him. Jake and Zara traveled to Valeria together. The palace looked just as Zara remembered, but everything felt different now. She was no longer the scared princess who had been taken away in chains. She was a woman who had found her strength and her purpose. Emperor Kethamor was very weak when they reached his bedside, but his eyes were clear when he looked at his daughter and her husband. "I was wrong," he whispered. "I see that now. You found something more valuable than a throne. You found love and courage." "Father," Zara said softly, "I name you my heir," Emperor Kethamor said. "Not because you are my daughter, but because you are the leader our people need. Rule with wisdom. Rule with compassion. Rule with the human you love by your side." The emperor died that night. Zara became empress, but she did not rule alone. Jake became her partner in everything, the first human to hold high office in the Valerian Empire. Together, they began to change their world. They freed the human colonies. They created new laws that protected all people, regardless of what species they were. They showed the galaxy that different peoples could work together. In peace, it was not easy. Many Valerians resisted the changes. There were protests and even some attempts to hurt Jake and Zara, but slowly things got better. 5 years later, Jake and Zara stood on the observation deck of their diplomatic ship. They were traveling to the peace talks on Centauri Station, where they would sign the final treaty between humans and Valerians. In the station below, they could see children playing together. Human children and Valerian children, laughing and running side by side. It was a sight that would have been impossible just a few years before. "Do you ever regret it?" Jake asked. "Giving up your old life for this?" Zara smiled and took his hand. On her finger, she wore a simple ring that Jake had made for her from metal found on Serenity's Rest. It was not made of gold or jewels like a royal ring should be, but it was more precious to her than any crown. "Never," she said. "My old life was empty. This life, our life, is full of love and purpose and hope." "Even when it's difficult?" Jake asked. "Especially when it's difficult," Zara said. "The most important things are never easy." Jake squeezed her hand. "I love you, Empress Zara." "I love you too, Ambassador Jake," Zara said. They stood together, watching their new world take shape. Their love had started as a punishment, but it had become the foundation for peace between their peoples. They had shown the galaxy that hate could be overcome by understanding, that fear could be defeated by courage, and that love really was the strongest force in the universe. In their shared office later that day, they worked side by side, planning the next phase of their reforms. Their hands touched briefly as Jake passed Zara a document, and in that simple gesture was all the love and partnership they had built together. What had begun as the cruelest punishment imaginable had become the greatest love story the galaxy had ever known. And more than that, it had become the key to lasting peace between worlds that had once been enemies. Their daughter, born 3 years after the peace treaty was signed, would grow up in a galaxy where love was stronger than prejudice, where different peoples worked together instead of fighting, and where the impossible had become possible through the power of two hearts that refused to be broken.